Jeffrey!
Hey!
Hey Mark, how you doing?
Alright. Jimmy!
What's going on, boss?
Alright.
Oh, you stink.
What did you bring with you? Scarlett.
Oh, it starts again, like I've never been away.
Off I go.
Feel it rising like the fire, feel it running through my veins. And oh, it starts again, like I've never left this place, like my prodigal return to an old familiar place.
Go for a swim? So it's 4 a.m. on day 8, and it sounds like there's a thunderstorm coming through. This is not what we expected. The wind is coming from the south, and we can hear thunder. It's getting closer. I'm wondering if this is the remnants of Hurricane Florence that we were hearing. We went into the park 8 days ago. There was this hurricane that was going to be making, I assume, landfall at the time. Within a day or two after we left. So I imagine this is the remnants of Hurricane Florence. Trying to undo somebody else's knot here. Here we go. Hey. Good morning. It's not a good morning. It's a rainy, very windy morning. Thundery. The wind took 2 of the lines down. So apparently it was flapping, and all the clothes that were hanging on it fell off and got soaked in the rain. Yay! I love camping. That's fun. I'm just not too happy about this wind. Holy cow. I'm thinking maybe I should go solo in the canoe. Let Todd go, but go, you and Todd paddle together. Coffee's on its way. Day 8. Yeah, it was a windy night. The wind got picked up. A couple ropes on the tarp snapped. Thunder at 4 a.m. or just before 4 a.m. on and off. Rain started to come down heavy. The wind started to pick up. Temperature's gone up. The wind's coming from the southwest, I guess. It seems to have died off for a little bit. The lake doesn't look too bad. I thought it was going to be really pissed off this morning, but the lake looks relatively okay. It's not angry at all, so hopefully it'll hold and we can paddle out of here safely and then head over to Rain Lake Access and meet up with our friends for a weekend of fun and remembrance. Todd, get over here. Coffee! Coffee! Woohoo! This is the way to wake up. This is awesome. Look at this view. Wow. September, no people, coffee, warm wind. Loons were singing a minute ago. it nice to get a free ride like this? Doesn't happen very often, but I love it. But I could have done without the soaking. How you doing? Beautiful day for a paddle. Haven't seen anyone in 4 or 5 days now, something like that. It's beautiful. But we're probably gonna see people in about 10-15 minutes. Back to civilization. Highway 17, North Bay, Highway 11, traffic, noise, internet, cell phones. And then it's back in the bush for 3 more days. You start singing, oh, I'm a lumberjack and I don't care. I paddle all day and sleep all night. It's just taking me straight to the access point. I don't have to do anything. Woo-hoo. I'm gonna break out the stove, make a coffee. The waves are getting larger because I'm getting closer to shore now, so it's getting shallower. So the waves are they have no place to go except up. So they're piling up, and it's starting to get a little bit dicey right now. Woohoo! We made it. 8 stinky days in beautiful Algonquin Park. It's been a great trip, man. And now we're gonna pack up, drive around to access number 4 and launch for a couple more days and hang out on McCraney Lake with some good friends and some good old times. Aha! Dry feet, dry feet! Woohoo! Just charging up the phone. Back to civilization. Man, is it ever warm, eh? Woo. So that was a great trip, and I hope Todd and Matt had a great trip as well. And I'm really looking forward to part 2 of our trip. I'm gonna miss this side of the park. I love the north end. I think it's the better side, but it's a matter of opinion, I guess. It's a different universe up here. I just love it. Usually there's less people, more wildlife, but that wasn't the case this year with the wildlife, but I don't know. Anyways, that's not important. What's important is that we all had a good time. And I'm looking forward to a weekend, sharing the weekend with you and my friends. So we'll see you there. Oh, look at that escarpment. Oh, it's beautiful. It's coming through Eau Claire, and I guess below that escarpment is the Mattawa River. Runs from North Bay up to the Petawa River, or the Ottawa River, sorry. Yeah. Okay, off to North Bay and coffee. Yeah, can I get a medium dark roast with 2 cream and 1 sweetener? What's a canoe trip without a cup of coffee? Thank you. Ciao. I bet you guys are here. I'm getting sick of this.
I wondered if it's that we talk to each other.
Hi, good to see you again.
Hey,
Hey.
Hey, Mark.
Alright. Jimmy! Alright. Did you bring with you? Going into the liquor store. Water's high. Dock's almost submerged. Just lower this window so. This group of guys, there were 6 of us. It's Mark Scarlett, John Scarlett, James Black, aka Jimmy Blackleg, Jeff McMurtry of Jeff's Maps, Scott Rogers, and myself, Mark Rubino. We wanted to do one really phenomenal canoe trip through Algonquin, and so we picked the Minas Link, which is a pretty epic canoe trip that the staff at the Algonquin Outfitters dreamed up years and years ago. Unfortunately, one of the members of the group passed away last year, or actually the year before last. That was John Scarlett. We wanted to get together with some of the family and friends of John and celebrate his life in one of his places that was special, that was dear to his heart, and that was Algonquin Park. Did you guys go to the Bon Cher like the last few days? Yeah, where'd you go? Luxury. Lost my hat, but I got it back. Holy tailwinds. Only portage. So here we are, we're just coming off Rain Lake now with a wicked tailwind. And we got I don't know, 1,700 something meter portage into Little McCraney. So it'll be nice to get out of the wind for a while. So yeah, we got a bit of a hike ahead of us, but it'd be nice to get off the water, but I don't know what's gonna happen when we hit McCraney. It could be a real windstorm. Cinematic style.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, so they're really nice. It's not the longest portage, but it's definitely the straightest, given its length. Yeah, it's pretty good. I love it. I love pain. Yeah, it's good portage. You'd think it was May. Wow. Oh yeah.
It's that quiet thing going across this little bay.
Wow, this is a seriously different day from this morning. It's like a hurricane here, and apparently this has nothing to do with Hurricane Florence when we went into the park 8 days ago. Apparently Florence came in and hit shore and then blew itself back out the sea, so this is just a giant low coming and pushing this high out of the way. Wow, what a big low. Clouds are just racing. Look at the whitecaps out here. Crazy. They're getting pushed that way. Okay, good to go. The beavers are getting smarter. They're carrying rocks now. What is this? This is weird. Unexpected. Wonder where these people are. Are they squatting? Hello? They didn't put a flag out on the island. They should have in weather like this. No, but I mean, if you don't want anybody to come bother you, come down in a storm, they should put a flag out. I always, like, I got my flag. I always hang it up when I base camp like this.
Hold on and see what you think of the place.
Oh, I love this site. It's awesome. Oh, come ashore. Mm. Yeah, but somebody's already camped here. Can't go back up the lake.
I think they probably knew what they were doing.
Is that your tent?
I plan on sleeping in it, yeah.
Oh, for Christ's sake. You son of a...
What do you think we were doing yesterday?
Oh, you rock.
What?
You rock, Mark.
We got water even. Yeah, waiting for you.
Oh, man. We pulled up to the island campsite and it was occupied, but we were like wondering where the canoes were, and they're like, we should, you know, should we go ashore? And I go, well, these people look like professional campers. They hung their food, they've got water out, they got tents, they got tarps, they know what they're doing. And I go, but there's no flag out front, like to indicate like from a distance that there's somebody here. And I was kind of upset about that, but. And I said, these people know what they're doing, but I don't know if they like us on their site. And Mark and Scott are standing around, they're kind of grinning, and I'm like, Scott, is that your tent over there? And he's like, yeah. They came in yesterday and set up, right? So they've been here for a full day ahead of us. We didn't know. Oh, that was awesome. Good job.
Gotta get one over on you.
Yeah, oh yeah, really good one. Holy cow. So yeah, beautiful. Well played. Yeah, yeah. Oh my God. So here you got a really nice tarp job with the center line, ridge line, and so if it's rain, rain goes on both sides. It's tarped out on more than 4 corners, which is really nice. Food hang right there. It's at least almost 2 full meters away from the trunk. That's a good job. And it's at least 12 feet off the ground. So that's awesome. That's a really good job there. And well, you got a tent over there. I know that area very well. It's nice and flat. It's a little bit of slope to it. Down there's a good spot. I've camped over there in the past. Good spot there. This site's great, and it's well shielded from the north, west, and south winds. That's it. I want to start unloading and setting up camp and start relaxing. So, talk to you later. This is pickerel.
Everyone, because I mean,
This is a really good fish.
Where'd you say?
I've been up to Woodland Caribou Park and caught stuff like this. It's amazing. So then we take this, putting the fish in the plastic baggie, and then we're
there you go.
There's two more hot.
okay, thank you, sir. Okay, so we got the little mini knife there. Not a Todd knife, unfortunately, but here we go. Ah! Shake and bake pickerel. There. Another one there. Wrap this puppy up. This. That. And that's ready to go into the grill.
Alright.
This one and that one. Yeah.
That's the rest of the weekend.
This is a stupid iPhone.
Renal dialysis technician.
He's got. You just noticed the fish are wrapped in flow now?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think that fish is done, man. Let's take her off.
I hope it's burnt. I'm gonna blame it on him.
Oh yeah. Oh, she smells good. Let me look at the flesh. Oh, she's done. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was salty. Good salty.
Here you go. You take that one there.
Thanks, bud.
The rabbit that was the...
That's some pickerel and some rice. And we're ready to go. And yum, yum, yum. Oh, sweet it is.
Oh, it was salty. Good and salty.
That was a good decision. Take it back. We had gone on a spring trip into White Partridge Lake that involved enlisting some First Nations teamsters with horses over on the northeastern side of the park to take a collection of gadabout of Algonquin people into White Partridge Lake for a trip in early May to go fishing. And we met up with people who we hadn't seen in person before, who we had communicated with in the Algonquin Adventures Forum. And that included Marcus and Jeffrey and Scott. And we got in talking then about the meanest link, which was a new idea that the Algonquin Outfitters had proposed, primarily to begin with, as a way to get their own staff involved more in understanding Algonquin Park and the challenges of that Algonquin Park posed. We saw it as John and I saw it as getting older Algonquin campers an opportunity to really test ourselves, and we were looking for some young blood who could help supplement our waning energies, and these three guys were eager to pitch in and give it a try. So we had what, 1, 2, 3, 4 of us, five of us, and we needed a sixth, and yeah, with John, and I thought of Joshua and approached him to see whether he'd be interested in being the sixth, but at that point he had 2 young kids and a household to hold together that was teeming with energy and things to do, and he really couldn't afford the week away at that point that we were looking for the first leg of the trip. And John knew Jim by way of the church that he was involved with near home, and turned to Jim, and Jim decided that he'd be available. We were the 6-on-6 because there are 6 rivers that flow out of Algonquin Park that we were going to be paddling on during the course of the meanest link.
We made t-shirts.
And so we had t-shirts to that effect. The rivers are the Big East, which you start going up, the Nipissing, the Petawawa, the Madawaska, and the Ox Tongue. Is that 6?
That's 5.
5.
Crow.
The Crow. The Crow.
Crow
Yeah.
River, yes.
Yeah. Last year, my brother John died after struggling with an illness that he'd been wrestling with for 16 years, very heroically, continuing to do canoe trips beyond what you'd otherwise expect for somebody who was dealing with the physical challenges that he had. And we were looking for an appropriate way to pay tribute to him. On the second year of that trip, we had called ourselves the Meanies to begin with because we were doing the Meanest Link. The start of the Meanest Link going up the Big East River, which involves days of walking in rapids and without portages, going upstream against a current.
Why would you go downstream?
Yeah, why would you go downstream? One of the challenges, being the third group across the Meanest Link at this point, is getting into Algonquin Park to McCraney Lake, the lake we're on tonight. And the easiest seeming way to go is up from the Big East on McCraney Creek, which is a tributary from McCraney Lake to the Big East. It is a miserable creek, piece of water. Runs down through a glen that's all rock. There are photographs of the first couple who actually did the Meanest Link, actually going up McCraney Creek, and you think they're out of their minds. And the second group were women staffers at Algonquin Outfitters. They tried to bushwhack a route from Hood Lake to McCraney Lake and ended up veering off track and through the woods and ending up at the creek as well, and had a miserable time. They completed it, but it clearly was an obstacle in the whole scheme of things. So having the map master, among our group, the guru of map making, Jeffrey McMurtry, I figured that there had to be a way to look at the terrain that's there and the vegetation and figure out a portage that we could bushwhack, traveling in the spring, which is the best time of the year to bushwhack in the park. So we spent some time Skyping and looking at what was there and figured out a route that made sense. And that's what, in fact, we did on that trip, with Jeffrey leading the way with his GPS. We did 2 trips. We didn't do it in one trip on that first time around, with one of us with a pack on their back, leading another of us with a canoe. I followed up in the rear, flagging the route. And so we completed that, flagging of that portage from Hood Lake over to McCraney Lake. The next year, we were going to complete the Meanest Link, but we had not, in fact, completed all of the Big East River, and we had cut off to do the McCraney route portage that we'd pathfinded. So we decided we would do a side trip on that and go down the Big East River from near its source on West Harry Lake. There was an old logging road that crossed the river, and thanks to Jeffrey's maps again, we followed that old logging road with our single portaging at this point. Along the way, we looked alongside the road, and there was, as we were following the creek, there was this beautiful waterfall. And we couldn't resist going in to take a dip and cooling off. And it was shortly before we again crossed the Big East, and we redid the Hoodlum Lake, reflagged it, for future users, and made our way to McCraney. We convinced Jeffrey, at the risk of his life, to name that waterfall Hoodlum Falls after our group.
I recall 15 inappropriate names before that. That was the first usable one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's lots of inappropriate names.
So we called ourselves not only the Meanies but the Hoodlums because of the Hood Lake connection, and we've got Hoodlum Falls, forever after in Jeffrey's maps anyway, for however long they last, as Hoodlum Falls. he needs to produce a new, Algonquin Park map in order to cement his place in history. But anyway, so it goes. So to celebrate the time that we spent with John on the meanest link, and John's involvement in a lot of pathfinding, which are other stories that go back to our first experience in Algonquin Park in 1963. We decided we'd get together on McCraney Lake at this island campsite, which was the one that we had come to after we'd completed that portage, and go back to Hoodlum Falls and remember John there. He wrote some poems that speak to our experience with him, and one of them was called One Mountain. In a few days I will be paddling on rivers and lakes with 4 younger men, one not yet 25, 2 in their 40s, the 4th my brother, who doesn't really count. Because like me, he's in his late 60s. It will be a challenging trip, long days, lots of portages, perhaps among my last. I try to remember what 45 felt like. My high school English teacher said that after 30, we would think of death every day. And he was right, I do. But back then I wrote death in a smaller font. 70 is not just another numeral with fewer years after it than one can reasonably expect to have at 30, 40, or 50. Counting birthdays has been replaced by counting aches and pains and productive hours. I search for a metaphor to share around the campfire, some geezerly wisdom. All I come up with is a cliche about life being a climb up a mountain that gets steeper and steeper, each step shorter and slower, until we walk off the highest rim we were born to reach. I mean, the views do get more and more spectacular, but how to describe them? I understand why mediocre poets get tongue-tied and the best ones can seem to speak in tongues. Anything longer than a haiku uses too many words. Less of everything seems to be where we all have been heading the whole time. The trail is narrower and less traveled. Fewer are the folks you started with and the ones walking ahead of us. Even the eye you wake up with is smaller. Each flower and bird getting our full attention, whatever their names.
I don't think I've heard that before.
No.
No.
That was from his second book, Leaf Shadows. Yeah.
I think most of what we've heard is like haiku type stuff, right?
Yeah.